Good afternoon, people, and welcome to the show. It's your host, Kibui, and on with me today I have my good friend, Michael Kwambo. How are you, Mike?
I'm not good. I'm not good. It's frustrating. Okay, I'm good. My health is
Yeah.
good and everything, but it's
hmm
difficult supporting AFC Leopards and Arsenal. AFC Leopards have just been hammered in the Kenyan Premier League by a nondescript side called FC Talanta. 4 goals to 2. And one of the goals, I was just describing it to you before we went on air, really
Uh-huh.
pathetic. You don't concede such kind of goals. Even when we used to play our soccer at break time, never,
Uh-huh.
ever. Nah, that's disrespectful. Then Arsenal throwing away a 2-0 lead. Anyway, that's how I'm doing.
It's a hard knock life being a sports fan, especially when your team doesn't win or when your team looks like they're going to do something, and then they bottle the job. So it's been an interesting morning so far. We've got some interesting results across the league. Kickoff this morning, Bournemouth with a shocker. They take a game off Newcastle. They don't just take a game off Newcastle. They go and they absolutely smack them 4-1 on their ground, breaking a 10-game total win streak between club, cup, and Premier League. And so Newcastle have to be really embarrassed about what happened. I caught some of the highlights, and like I said, like a few weeks ago, Bournemouth are playing some beautiful football. It proves that you don't have to have big name players to have big time results. Next up was the Liverpool game, and I think you caught some of that game, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about it. What did you think?
Well, Liverpool, they're in it to win it. Showing
Mhm.
great resilience. 2 goals late on, winning the game. I mean, that's what you need in a team that is stating intent in the home stretch for the league title.
I was watching the game with my son. He played. He was an all-state selection in football, and Liverpool were peppering them. But to be honest and fair, Brentford were not sitting back to trying to just take a draw. They kept going back. They had a couple of good chances, and then they just got caught on a counter. And the one guy that you did not expect to save Liverpool, is the guy who got a double in injury time. It's
Yeah.
so that goes to show even their scrubs can come through in a pinch. That's why they're the best defensive team. Only 20 goals leaked this season. They scored the most goals. They're up to 50 for the season. So being on top of the table is deserved. A couple of other results. Fulham steal 2 points from Leicester. Looks like Ruud van Nistelrooy will probably be going down back to the championship with Leicester. They play attractive football. It's just they just don't have the cattle to make it happen. Crystal Palace take 2 points, so continuing their good run of form, they take 3 points off West Ham. And then the final game of the day, Arsenal Aston Villa. And I'm going to let you lead this discussion. Your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on what happened. Just leave it all out there. Let's go.
Well, first of all, you lead 2-0, then concede 2 goals at home, draw 2-2. Remember, Aston Villa cost us the league title last season, and here they show up again. I think the team should have come into this better prepared, well aware of the task at hand. And I think for the moments that they were in the lead,
Mhm.
it was evident. But there's no leadership within Arsenal. I say that in regards to Martin Odegaard. Really hasn't been the same since coming back from his ankle injury, playing in spurts. And today was pathetic from the captain, the man that you count on to pull the strings in midfield. Just can't get anything going for him. The decision to play Julian Timber in defense in the absence of William Saliba was good. He looked pretty decent.
Yeah.
Miles Lewis Skelly, as always, clocking in the mileage and another solid performance from the 18-year-old.
Mhm.
Big Gabby. Well, what can we say about him? He always shows up. He was solid in defense.
Yeah.
Wow. Mikel Merino. Why did we sign Mikel Merino? Brought nothing to the midfield. Kai Havertz in the middle of that front three. It is evident why Arsenal needs a proper frontman and not a
Yeah.
makeshift striker. So
Mhm.
those for me are the reasons why Arsenal is where it is, and I think that just sums up the game for me.
I'll tell you. The lineup for me, I think one thing I was looking at was I understand Saliba's out, but I also understand and I can see, and the results say that of the 7 games that Thomas Partey has played at right back, we've won one. We drew, I think we drew 5, we lost one. But we don't lose when he's playing at right back, but we don't win because you don't have that possession and the go forward. So you compromise your attack by putting him there. I understand Saliba is out. I honestly would have maybe gone with Kieran Tierney at centre back. He has played centre back for Scotland. So he's primarily a left back, but he can play centre back. He's undersized. But if you have Ollie Watkins, you leave Gabriel with Ollie Watkins, then he can deal with the undersized guys on the on the second line. But that's what I would have done. And I honestly do not want to see Mikel Merino play for this club ever again. He's slow, he's plodding, he's risk averse. I haven't seen him do a half turn and progress the ball. And for somebody who got, for somebody who we paid almost 28 million pounds with 1 year left on his contract, he's looking like the bust of the summer transfer for me, to be honest with you.
I
You know.
agree, and he was the antithesis of Declan Rice, who looked solid with his passing. He fought to get the ball whenever he lost it. I mean,
Mhm.
Declan Rice and Mikel Merino was just such a
Chalk
miss.
and cheese.
Yeah,
It's 180 degrees. You
yeah.
have one guy who leaves it all out on the field. He's tracking back. He's pushing forward. He's doing everything he can. He's making tackles, breaking up play. And the other guy, I think as a midfielder, if you're completely anonymous, it's because either one, you did absolutely all, or you controlled the game so well. I think of someone like N'Golo Kante. You didn't necessarily see him like all the time on the ball, but the work he did off the ball was what made Chelsea churn. There's one other guy I'm going to talk about, and it's Martin Odegaard, our captain. Martin Odegaard should go ahead and take his armband, walk over to Gabriel today, and he needs to go ahead and just give it to Gabriel and say, you know what, I'm sorry for holding this for you. You are the heart and soul and the leader of this team, so I'm giving this back to you, and I'm just going to go about my playmaking role. Uh, I don't know if you watched him during that game, but every time somebody went into contact with him, the guy won't keep his feet. He goes down. He goes down so easily. So, for me, it's frustrating. I understand he's a creator, but I expect you to at least keep your feet in a challenge. And if you lose the ball, this whole pressing thing that you do, the press from the front, I expect you to sprint back and at least contest. So for me, there are questions about Odegaard and his ability and what's going on there. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree, and the more that he puts out such performances, the more you get to understand why Real Madrid had no problem in letting him go, because he would be
True.
way down the pecking order in a very competitive Madrid side, a side that requires you to show up, all the time, every time.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, since his injury, he just hasn't been the same. And
Yeah.
you're the leader of the team, and you've got to you've got to show you've got to show leadership. You have to lead by example. Sadly, we're just not getting it from Martin Odegaard. And like you said, give it to Gabriel. And the other day I was watching an AFTV podcast in which they were
Mhm.
actually also giving credit to Big Gabby,
Yeah.
and actually saying that over time he has emerged to be the better of the two defenders between him and William Saliba. Because Saliba, yes, is the Rolls Royce. He is smooth, he is suave, but Gabi just shows up every time, and he's proving to be a significant player for the Arsenal.
I think Gabby's maturation over the last 6 months has to be studied. Like he was the guy that you knew was going to give up a penalty, like a stupid foul, yellow card, red card. He'll get spun, and it'll happen once every 5 or 7 games. Now it doesn't happen every game now. He's matured. He's our goal scorer. He's the guy putting in crucial tackles. He is the best defender on the side right now. I think he's been our man of the season, to be honest with you. He's given us goals, he's given us defense, he's lifted the team when he had to. Saliba's excellent, so no hate on Saliba, but I think the credit needs to be handed over to Gabby now for what he's accomplished so far this season, and I expect him to now be a Brazil regular. Given what he's doing, he should be able to challenge for that Brazil spot as well.
Yes, he should. I totally agree with you.
Let's talk about the stats. We'll talk about the stats from the game briefly, and let's see here. So the same old story. We talk about the possession and the team shots on goal. Uh, they got 4 shots, they scored 2. That's a 50% conversion rate. 50% conversion rate is absolutely unacceptable. We continue. We talked about this. We give up 2 or 3 chances a game, but a team will score 1 to 2 chances a game. That's the problem that we have right now. And what do you think that is? Is that lapse of concentration? Is it because we have too much possession and then you're not turned on? What do you think the issue is there?
I think it's a lapse in concentration, more so, like you said, because of holding on to too much possession. And you tend to panic when you're not in possession. So you really don't know what to do off the ball. Apart from the press, there's really nothing else to do. Then I think also the tinkering, because like you said, with Thomas Partey now going to right back, Arsenal has neither lost nor won. But you could see, like today, he was at fault for the goal scored by Ollie Watkins. And it's down to these little things that we are talking about, the tinkering, which
Mm,
eventually leads to a loss of concentration because you are not settled in your mind.
yeah.
I think that's it.
I think as a left back or right back, you're probably not like trying to play the offside line when that cross comes in, which is what Partey was doing. You're trying to stick to your man as close as you can so that you have the pressure on him. He doesn't have a free run. So, Kai was like maybe this much short of heading that ball. If he gets ahead to that, then it goes past Ollie. But he didn't get to the ball. And Partey had taken a step this way instead of going towards Ollie. And that was a fantastic finish. You know what? Hats off to Ollie Watkins. That was a phenomenal finish. And then let's talk about the goal before that. Mikel Merino. Oh, so the sub at halftime, Luca Digne comes in and he completely changes that side of the field. So he started putting that pressure going up and down, and that cross he put in was absolutely pinpoint. Not much that we could do about the shot, but Mr. Marino, instead of tracking Yuri Tillemans, who's not a very fast runner, he kind of waited until the last second to start charging, and then we get an own goal. So for me, Mikel Merino today, this is you. It's a 0 out of 10 for me. And when that goal went in, that wasn't a goal. I remember screaming, thinking, "Okay, all's forgiven," but it's really not. But tough times. The goal that was disallowed. Have you gone back and looked at the visuals? Does it
Yeah, I've
look like
looked at the results. Yes, it was a handball. We really can't complain about that. It's just one of those things. But away from that, you have to take your chances and convert all of them. Arsenal is
yeah,
simply not doing that. Trying to look at this game from a scenario where probably Arsenal would have been 4-0 up and still conceded those 2 goals. I think at the
yeah,
end of the day, it still would have been a victory. The reason I say that is because up front,
yeah.
Martinelli was decent today. Leandro Trossard was a live wire again
Mm.
and created so much and was responsible for a lot of Arsenal's go forward play. Should have converted those chances. But yeah, that's where we are right now.
So that brings me to that next topic, which is Martinelli being pulled off when he was one of our biggest threats. He was probably the biggest threat up top. He was pulled off for Mr. Raheem Sterling. So Sterling has had a stellar career, right, for club and country. His days at Liverpool, the first maybe 4 or 5 seasons at City, was a fantastic player. And then towards the end of his City career, kind of dropped off. You know, when Pep lets you go without any fight, it's probably a sign that it's not somebody that you need to pick up. And I think he can go back on loan. We can end the loan now, and we don't lose anything else. And I would rather play a young kid off the academy. What are your thoughts on that? We're thin, but would you prefer to keep Sterling and see if he comes good, or I'm just like everything he did was backwards. He had no
Yeah.
intent.
Yeah, I think it's too late in the season, and for this, I also blame Mikel Arteta because yes, he got him towards the start of the new campaign. And I remember in one of his pre-match briefings actually saying that the reason he was sparing Sterling is because he did not have a preseason. Fair enough, but there was games during the first leg of the season
Mhm.
where he would have thrown him on,
Yeah.
given him 20, 30 minutes and increase the frequency as we go on, featuring him more in the Carabao Cup. But we are where we are, and when you are coming off nearly 2 seasons of missing out on regular first team action, the
Mhm.
rust is going to show, and it takes a long time to shake it off, especially as you grow older.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think it's best that Arsenal cuts its losses and parts ways with Raheem Sterling. I love the player, I've been a big fan of him,
Yeah.
but it's just not working for him at the Arsenal right now.
Yeah, I'd say even if you cut that loan and you go get someone else who's just going to work, I saw someone yesterday who I would say go and get him. The kid from Southampton. Did if you go watch the highlights, I watched part of that game. There's this guy called Kamaldeen Sulemana.
Yes, yes. I saw
Oh
I
my
saw a lot
gosh.
of I saw a lot of chatter in social media about him.
So I watched the guy play. He's technical. He's quicksilver fast, and he's aggressive. He's not getting shoved off the ball. You come and touch like Trossard, Raheem Sterling, or Martinelli. You just put a shoulder on him. They throw themselves to the floor.
You
This
even
guy
look at
was
them.
battling against big center backs, running past them, running through them, and so he gave Delict and Lenny Euro nightmares. Like those guys are still thinking about him right now, even though they won that game. So talent ID. Look at somebody like that. I would go and say, you know what, that's a guy who can, even if he's not a first team starter, he can become a squad player for a top side in the league. That's a
Yeah,
relegation bound side. You go and show them the
yeah,
cash, and you go get someone like that. Tell Sterling you go back, and that brings me to the final thing, which is the window is, we're 19 days in. Today is done. England, it's already midnight, right? So
yeah.
today is done, and there are 11 days, no, 12 days left. Do you think we're going to get anyone in when we needed one person before Saka went down? Now Saka and Jesus are done, so we really need two, maybe three people. Are we going to get
I,
anyone?
I have that feeling. I have that gut feeling that we're gonna get people in because the
Yeah.
crisis is where Arsenal is in dire straits, and
Yep.
today's result, I believe, is a key pointer to that. Had there been a victory registered in today's game, I think Mikel Arteta would have been with a bit of arrogance in his speech and his demeanor, but I'm sure right now he
Yeah.
is bugged by the fact that he needs to reinforce some departments, more so for me, the attack, and something needs to be done. I do believe that something will be done, even if it's on the deadline of the transfer window,
Okay.
because remember Arsenal are notorious for that.
They are. They're very slow at chasing deals, and they really take their time. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the market. I'm hoping that they pick up at least one person, hopefully two, but we'll see. Schedule to survive until Dubai is Dinamo Zagreb at home. We have Wolves away. We should win Wolves away regardless. And after Wolves, we have Girona away. And then we have two really tough games, one at home against City, and then one at St. James Park against Newcastle in the league. I'm sorry, in the Carabao Cup second round. So we have those games until before we go to Dubai for 10 days or 8 days. What are you thinking about those games? How many we're going to win? Any draws? Any losses? What's your thoughts?
I think 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats. If there are 6 games, the defeats probably for me coming against. Why do I fancy Girona to pick up a result against the Arsenal? I don't know
Good
why.
Lord, no, at home? Jesus.
With this Arsenal side right now, anything is possible. And then Man City. The other day watching Spurs versus
Hmm.
Arsenal,
Yeah.
yes, the win was good, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking if Arsenal were to meet Manchester City right now, they would probably give us a 4-1 thumping, just based on the fact that there's no confidence in the team right now.
And I think they completed their signing for the Egyptian guy Marmoush, right?
Yeah, they've got Marmoush and then they've tied down Haaland to a 9.5-year contract. So I think he's settled
Yeah.
now. and
Yep.
you can see the reinforcements. They will be back, and I don't think it's a
Yeah.
good time to play Manchester City right now.
I think 2 weeks from now, when we play them, the young defenders that they've signed one, they're trying to get another one in this weekend. But they will be here. I think they're coming back to health. I think Marmoush and maybe a 10 roll or at least a 9 roll, a 10 roll behind Holland. I think we're going to be in trouble in that game. But we'll wait and see. We can always hope for the best. And that's it for today. Anything else you have on your mind before we wrap up?
Well, nothing much. Just it's a warm day here today. Funny enough, so enjoying that.
It was about 30 degrees, 35 degrees this morning. We got a run in, got some football in for about 2 hours, and I came
Hey.
home to this nonsense. So I was in great spirits before the game, and now I'm back down. So we'll wait and see how the weekend goes. Enjoy the sun where you are. Everybody
Okay.
else,
Yeah.
like and subscribe. Join us and follow the channel. And we'd love to give you more content. Cheers and have a great weekend.
All right. Have a great weekend too.
Yes, sir.